What if you could travel to parallel worlds? The same year, the same Earth, only different dimensions. A world where the Russians rule America. Or where your dreams of being superstar came true. Or where San Francisco was a maximum security prison. My friends and I found the gateway. Now the problem is finding a way back home.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Circling the Vortex. I believe this is episode 11. We have been away quite some time, and I'm your host Ben, and with me today, my co-host is Sliders Virgin, Nathan.
Hello.
It's really good to be back. It's been far too long. The world definitely got in the way, and obviously we used to record this in person, around my house, a few drinks deep, usually having a nice meal, a nice social experience, but that's not possible right now due to everything that's going on in the world. So we're at home, and we're doing this remotely, so things might be a bit different, and we're obviously, without one of our co-hosts here. So we're just gonna make do as we are, eh, Nate? How are you feeling about this?
We're gonna
glad to be back?
Work. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. I mean, it's not the same doing it online, but at the same time, it's illegal to not. So stay safe, listeners. Yeah.
Sadly, I think what we've got in this world is the I believe it was called the Q virus from the Q, from season 1 of Sliders. Is all too real, it turns out, and has been
hit vacuum. Sorry to interrupt. We've not hit vacuum packed burger stage yet, so there is hope.
Yeah, and weird like scanner things when you walk in to every building. I remember that as well from that, and we don't all look yellow as well and like super jaundiced. Which in a way would be handy because you'd spot things easier in that situation. But,
you've not actually seen me since, Ben. I hate to break it to you. No, I am still human colour.
But we're back to talk about Sliders. We just watched season 2, episode 1, The Mystic. Not the strongest start to a season of television I've ever seen. I don't know about you, but it wasn't the greatest, was it? I mean, it's got some lore in there. It's got some stuff, especially at the end. We'll get to it. But should we do a quick recap?
I don't even know what to recap. There's not
a lot in it, is there? Like, the concept isn't particularly deep.
There was a plot, but at the same time, where was it? I don't know what happened in this episode, but I know what happened. At the same time, I've no clue what happened. It was kind of episode.
We get a really odd cold open, which is this dream sequence for Quinn, dreaming that he's been died and is now been buried, with a character that was at the end of season 1, played by the actor that played Krychek in the X-Files, hooking up with Wade. He quickly wakes up from this sort of dream of portents to find out that character's gone, just gone. Like, they've written them out, but they had them for that scene, which was weird. Like, why had him
available to film? Yeah,
clearly was about, but then cut. Like, very peculiar. And then we quickly, I don't remember what happened at the end of season 1, but I guess Quinn must have got shot because he's injured, isn't he?
I think so. I'm trying to remember. It was like the lottery episode, and I think, he got shot. Apparently, he's been mostly treated. Like, he seems to be in pain, but he's been treated. I don't fully get that, but
anyway, they slide out. They slide out with a gardener laughing at Quinn really maniacally and weirdly, and like, that's strange because that character then pops up a total of 3 or 4 more times throughout the episode in different personas. And then we slide into the world of the occult. We slide into a world in which mysticism is real, that you have shamanic witch doctors, and you have grim reapers and evil midgets. I'm not even sure what that was. We'll get to that in a minute.
Hunter.
Yeah, evil midget bounty hunter, my bad, yeah. Who makes that whole scene. And then they go to the doctors, and they kind of like avoid paying for the doctors, which starts the plot off of the very light plot of them like being hunted by these bounty hunters for Quinn's brain because they didn't pay for his, medical assistance. And then it's all about the quest to see the sorcerer, I believe is what they call him.
Quest is a very strong word.
They cross the bridge. It's a very long bridge.
I would use journey at a push. Even that feels...
The best bit is that they make it out to be quite a big deal, don't they? And then like later on in the episode, they just sort of leave and come back, and it seems to take about 2 minutes. It's so funny. It's like, this is not a big deal at all. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of that's the plot, isn't it? And they get something for him, and you find out that the sorcerer is a Quinn who slid for profit, is the only way of describing it. It was setting up...
He was using that universe world as shelf space.
Well, he wanted shelf space to sell goods, which he was importing from other dimensions, because he saw an opportunity in this world because of the nature of the occult sort of oppression that was going on in the world. There was it was quite backwards, I suppose. We did see a market scene earlier on, which was kind of like a medieval market, and I think the implication here was he was going to bring like modern electronic goods and things that, conveniences that we're used to, but the occult world would not be. I just think the idea that he's sliding to find worlds that are backwards and take advantage of them.
They had TVs.
Yes, that is true.
And yet they go in a market, and it's like a man in a, I don't know, like peasant get-up hacking up a fish or something.
It was just very like, it was one of the least well thought out worlds I think we've seen. It was inconsistent, and it was just all very plot contrivance based, wasn't it? It wasn't like somebody came up with a great high concept which they then developed. It was much more like, ooh, we want to hit these plot points, it's a sort of a low impact first episode and get people back into the swing of sliders here. And I
mean, the shame is that the idea of a universe where magic is real, you could probably do quite a good story in, but they just sort of brushed it off, barely used it. There was what's the word? A kind of oracle fortune teller woman.
Yeah.
You mentioned sliding, so she must have been real. But
I guess the issues here was that they didn't want to confirm, did they, one way or another, if magic was real in this world. They were like, they played it quite down the middle. Like, it was like, was it just manipulation? Was it being played by people for, there was implications that it was like corporate, wasn't it? That it was used to manipulate people. So it's left fairly ambiguous. But I think because of that, it loses some strength, doesn't it? Like, you get that one scene with the Grim Reaper serving the subpoena to Quinn, and it's like, that seemed pretty confirming that it was real, that the mysticism sort of side of it was true. Yeah. But then they kind of also, you have Arturo throughout sort of countering it, don't you? So, yeah.
A lot of underdeveloped ideas in that episode, I feel.
Yeah.
It felt, like I said, just it just seemed to serve just to hit certain points, and that's it.
So something it felt like to me was that it almost felt like they'd kind of cannibalized a season ender episode with the beginning of a new season. Did you get that feeling? Because we obviously have that fairly impactful scene at the end, which gives us a strong indication that they did actually get home. And then you have the reveal that, gate watch, the gate didn't squeak, but it should have done.
Series 2.
Yeah. Oh, we ticked quite a few boxes here, didn't we? There was some extreme Thirsty Wade in places in this episode.
Giving him some awful back rub into the shoulder where he'd been shot, actually, which is not the best idea.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all. Like, why did the bullet wound just sort of like the whole plot contrivance from the first act just got dropped, didn't it?
I mean, he seemed to run around pretty fine. It might have been shot in the shoulder, apparently.
Yeah, it was just left, and then she's just rubbing it. And when she was rubbing it, when she was like watching TV, she was like really into that shoulder, man. Like,
furious.
Furious rubbing
action.
And then, of course, she had thirsty moments with Double Quinn, didn't she?
Well,
who actually got a kiss.
when was it? What, Shaman Shang? Dr. Shang, the witch GP or whatever.
So once Quinn's been captured by the evil midget bounty hunter, and either belted to the table or plastic tube to the table.
Not very securely, either way.
Not very securely. You know, she's like to the creepy shaman, I'll give you myself, you know? What's another brain when you could have all of this? And it was all a bit like, okay. It's quite grim that Wade seems to mostly get her kind of moments of triumph and ability around her sexuality. That does seem to come up a lot. Especially as she's not
all she did this episode.
Yeah, and it's weird because she's not like an overtly sexual character. You know, she kind of looks like, you know, a boy half the time. You know, the hair and the appearance and the clothing. They
Very
kind of
nice tomboy.
Yeah, they make her sort of gender neutral, but then again, she only ever seems to use sex to get what she wants. It's really weird, like that sort of dichotomy. It doesn't make sense at all, does it, for that character?
Oh, it does make sense. It was written in the 90s.
Does it make sense? Well, I mean, talk about some of those special effects. It made Buffy look high budget. I mean, holy crap! Like some of the gargoyles at. Can we just point out the name of this bridge? It was Golden Gargoyle Gate Bridge, which is. Because, you know, in San Francisco, there's a bridge called the Golden Gate Bridge. So this is a reference to that. But instead, this is a mystical bridge to the place
the bridge
that
wasn't
the
even
sorcerer...
golden.
No, it wasn't.
It was literally like some polystyrene gargoyles near a bit of foliage, which obviously was nowhere near the actual bridge, wherever that was filmed.
I also love the fact that they kind of ripped off Indiana Jones with that whole bit on the bridge, with the see-through bridge, where it's straight up from... was it the final one, isn't it? Last Crusade.
Yeah.
Where he's going for the Cup of Christ and he has to do the leap of faith. It's an optical illusion. Yeah.
Although we did learn something very interesting.
Did we?
Which I think is a game changer in the whole Sliders universe.
Go on.
It shares the same cinematic universe as Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Potentially.
Who'd have thought there would be such a long game at play here when you've got, you know, Sabrina's just wrapped on Netflix. They're just brought that to an end. But that character and Sliders, you know, that they're all the same universe. Like, that's crazy. I mean, did not see that coming.
It's a tenuous link with the, what is it? Oh, it's a witch alphabet. My friend Sabrina showed me it, or something like that.
I think that's all we need.
You know, you never know. We might see Sabrina and her aunts in the next episode. That's what I'm thinking.
I doubt it.
Look, I've not seen it yet, Ben. Don't crush my dreams.
Oh wow,
Avengers Endgame has nothing on this potential crossover.
I'm just trying to think about this episode. Like, it's such a brief episode. There's so little to unpack. I mean, there's so little of actually what happens.
There's nothing.
I mean, in addition, all right, so we had the plot contrivance, which is always the timer and how long they're on the world, was basically like left out of the story for 2/3 of it. Normally, the first thing they do is check the timer and go, "Oh, we've got X amount of time here," but that wasn't mentioned at all.
And we ended up, what's it? Oh, we've got 11 hours, and then they go back and come back, and it's 1 hour left. It's like,
yeah, that kind of
nothing.
That was that kind of contrivance to get the plot moving a bit in the third act, I think, towards a conclusion, because there was so little actual kind of peril or impetus going on in this episode. I mean, we did also get recurring character of the cab driver, which I'm always happy to see.
And the TV lawyer, I think.
TV lawyer, I think, has been in it before as well, and actually got kind of like a proper part in this bit, didn't he? They actually used him in a scene with his clapping in the first act, which was... that really stood out. Just clapping at his, like, rickshaw driver to go and to stop and to go again. It was all very strange. I don't know why he couldn't just ask him to go and stop. But he clapped at him instead.
Like you said, there was no peril. Even when Quinn was, like, captured, the three others immediately follow him and rescue him, like, within...
30
no
seconds?
time at all.
20 seconds? What was it? None. I mean, the fact is that we got Action Man...
pulls the gun off the bounty hunter.
Like, with very little effort.
Fight.
I mean, it felt a bit like he was being abusive towards a midget. I'm not going to lie. It was a bit out of order. I mean, it was like, mate, give him a chance, yeah?
That's just peril. Like when the bounty hunter, it's like, I'm not going anywhere without my bounty. And then he goes.
It's a weird, he says that like 2 or 3 times as well, as if, you know, he'd show up later on or something, or like a third act reveal, or he's going to come in and, you know, throw a spanner in the works for their exit maybe when they're with the sorcerer. No, never see him again. Never comes back. Maybe they had plans for that guy, but, you know, they couldn't get him on the shooting day or something. I don't know, but it was so strange. And it was a disappointing return for us after, what, 2 years away or something nearly, since we last did an episode of this. It's like coming back to that episode, it's like, wow, this is really mediocre. I mean, like, I know Sliders can be pretty mediocre, but that was really mediocre.
It's a surprising choice for a first episode, even though it's second series. You typically still want something, you know, with a little bit of anything to open up the second series, get people back in. But no, it's just the only good thing was about the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
did you 5? I don't think.
It's 2 minutes or something, isn't it? Did you want to talk about that? How did that leave you feeling? Were you shell shocked? Were you devastated?
I mean, I called it.
You did.
So
yeah, I see what's happening.
Other Quinn, I don't know what, Wizard of Oz Quinn with his vampire hologram thing. It's like, oh yeah, we'll get you home. Sends him home. They were all there, and I was like, what? Oh, O.J. Simpson's been on trial for a double murder. A lot of things could happen. Some American sports score thing that I don't know.
Something about some team that was meant to be shit, I guess, that had done well.
I was like, sport thing, sure. I don't know. Let's be honest. No Sliders people were bothering about the sport.
Wow. Shots fired from Nathan there. Okay.
Come on, it's not a sports show. Let's be honest. You know, it's not.
Unless you're watching what was it called? My favorite episode from last season, Eggheads. I love that episode, man. I'm sorry, I still love competitive maths. It's just the best thing ever, and it's like at pain of death. Oh, it's such a good episode. Oh, I love it. But you don't. You hate that episode for some reason. I love that episode.
I'm just not a fan.
I love that episode.
So too much sport in it. So
yeah, that'll be.
They go back to this universe. And it's like, oh, it's the gate. I've known this gate since... Known this gate? What is it?
I've known this gate. I've biblically known this gate.
I've known this gate.
When I was a really horny teenager, I really got to know this gate. Like, what the hell?
And it's like, oh, it squeaks. I know that sound, and it doesn't squeak. You can pretty much guess what's happening. So like, oh, we're so sad. There was only 53 seconds till the next slide, so they quickly got in that contrivance of the slider box machine. Remote controller? I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I think they call it a remote, don't they?
So then they slide away, and then who comes out? But it's the man who was laughing in his vision. And
there was also the assistant to the sorcerer who was turned out to be dodgy for some reason.
Thank you, Mrs. Quinn, for the iced tea. I've done the hedges, and come and see what I've done with the gate. It squeaks. Oh,
no, it doesn't
I know you
squeak.
missed your son. No, it doesn't squeak, obviously.
It doesn't squeak. It squeaks. I made it squeak. Oh no, none of this works anymore.
And he's like, oh, I missed your son. So, big plot thing. Which that was the only bit, I think, that was really first episode worthy.
Yeah, like that was the one concept, and it's a
they got back and then they left immediately.
It's a massive downer. It's a massive downer. But I think what it's also saying is, he's never getting home. Let's stop worrying about
the next episode's Sabrina Teenage Witch crossover.
There you go. That's
which I am ready for.
I think actually, no, I do think what it kind of is them sort of establishing the fact that them getting home is not really going to be the thrust of this. It's like they got home, they didn't realise shit's out of luck for them. Oh, wow.
It's a little bit of a tease. Like, they could get home. They did. And they've gone somewhere else.
I think what we're getting, though, is that what we did get from this episode with Double Quinn there, I think, is that establishment. For the first time, if you tell me if I'm wrong, you may remember season 1 better, but I don't think they've ever established previously that there are other Quinns who are and other people in general that are way more successful at sliding and are actually like out there making, these connections between worlds, and that there is a wider kind of thing going on amongst, in the Sliderverse. It's not just our little group of happy-go-lucky mistaken sliders. There are people out there who are doing this, and in a way that concept that they dropped there is huge, but dropped in a way that you'd almost miss it, like the implication of it, because that's this show wrapped up. It's the whole idea that this show is completely episodic with only the tiniest bits of serialized storyline.
There's not much serial.
Sorry?
There's not much serial.
Not a lot, no. It was the era of TV where that was kind of frowned upon. I mean, it's unfortunate because a show like this, with the concept that they're dealing with, and trust me, mate, you're going to see some things. You're going to see some stuff, and things are going to change as we get further along into this. But
I was disappointed at, and I know obviously it's for plot reasons, otherwise the show would have just ended, is other Quinn, sent them home. You could have just fixed their remote.
Yeah.
So that it wasn't random.
Well, you say that, but isn't there a mate that... I don't think I can get that line correct that Arturo uses when explaining what's going on to the crying man, and it's just like...
there's like a roulette wheel.
No, but that's the Quinn bit, and then he says something along the lines of, there's a 100% probability, but sadly also 100% uncertainty, or something like that, and you're like, what? What now?
But so clearly... Wizard of Oz Quinn must have done it if he was trying to set up a business to go back and forth.
100%. Wizard of Oz Quinn knows how to travel back. He's not sliding randomly. That's the point. Is that he has complete control over the technology. He isn't stranded there. He just stayed there because he was doing so damn well cleaning up, with his business. But he's not stranded. No.
I know it's for plot reasons, but it's just one of those things that's like, I don't even have words for it.
It's like before they left, could you just tell us what we got to
fix it? Just fix the machine. Brilliant.
Don't want to sort it? No. You don't want to. You wouldn't. Considering I've just met the person that knows exactly what is doing and how to do it, I wouldn't. Add maybe a little bit more credence to the place we just landed on, and maybe not slide out 53 seconds later. Maybe no. Okay. Probably would have taken that risk, but it's that bit, isn't it? They'll talk us, can't trust mystical scientists or something. It's like, wow.
Also, have we worked out what happens when the slide vortex opens if they don't go through it?
I think they've said before, haven't they, that you're stuck. That's it. You get one chance when it opens, and if you don't go through and it closes, you're stranded.
Well, doesn't the machine just then restart for another random time? So they could have stayed there for a little bit longer. I
feel like in season 1 they do something to try and explain why it does what it does and how it does it.
Well, I was not paying attention to that.
But I imagine we were paying attention, but it's been a while since we watched it. And now it's just like the main plot contrivance to keep the show moving forwards. Oh, good. Yeah. I don't think there's much more to say about that particular episode, The Mystic.
I wish there was. I mean, there was a couple of almost good lines, but I don't know.
Not really. I mean, I liked Action Remy. I thought that came out of nowhere and was kind of like, okay, cool. He's learned some shit. He's using guns and sort of defeats an evil mystical shaman character who had a sword by smashing him in the head, and then they laugh about killing the guy's pet snake, which was fucked up.
That was somebody's pet, and then he basically knocks the sorcerer the doctor in the face.
Let's be honest, that doctor's probably dead.
Somebody.
That doctor's probably dead. He's quite old. Like, that was the point, wasn't it? He was old, and he's just hit him in the head really hard with a gun. He's killed him. He's killed him.
He was fine. He's a doctor. Heal thyself.
Okay. And he's going to go upstairs. He's going to find the snake literally in bits against a wall, and in his distraught, injured, frail state, he's probably just going to collapse and die. It's horrible.
I mean, maybe this is what we need to explore more, the consequences of their actions when they leave the world behind.
I feel like we should write, for each episode we watch, do a 2,000-word essay on the impact of the unplanned sliding of Quinn and his cohorts on that world. I think there's probably a lot to explore. a lot to explore.
If you want to write the essay, be my guest, Ben. I'm not going to partake in that.
I will. Well, what I'll say is I'll end it with this. If you guys would like me to write the essay, do tweet us at Experience Kills and let me know that you'd like to do that. Hashtag Circling the Vortex, so I know it's about the essay. Do let us know if you've enjoyed this. I've had, weirdly, a lot of people asking for us to return and do this again, so I'm really glad to be doing this for them. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We're going to be back with more. I'm not sure what the release pattern's going to be like for these, but we're going to keep doing them. And it's nice to be back with you, Nathan, watching Sliders.
It's glad to be back. It's not glad to be watching that episode.
No, I was going to say, and it was like the most mediocre episode ever, but we're gonna persevere and see how far we get.
In the words of D-Ream, things can get better.
I really want to get us to the point where the show completely goes off the rails. I mean, it totally goes off the rails. So I really want to get us there, because your head slapping moments are going to be many. So until next time, I have been Ben. There's been Nathan.
I have been me, yes.
He has been Nathan,
and you've been whoever you are listening. I don't know.
Well, I'm Ben. I used to do an intro, didn't I, where I was like the different worlds we were from. Do you remember
that?
World
of sausage hands. That's the first thing I could think of.
That's great. I'd forgotten we used to do that. Oh, it's been like 2 years.
Maybe we'll get a new one for series 2. A new thing. I don't know.
Maybe a new thing. Yeah, okay. I'll work on that.
Thing.
I just want a better episode. So until next time, bye everyone.
Goodbye.